Well, let's get to Ed Ponsi, who is president at FXeducator.com. He joins us now live from New York. Staying with us, our guest host, Stephen Halmarick, head of investment market research at Colonial First State, on set here in Sydney. Ed, we did see a little bit of an improvement in the US dollar overnight. I note that on your recommendations, you're long-term bearish US dollar, but think there should be a short-term bounce. Is this the bounce that you were waiting for?
Thank you. Great to be here. Yeah, I think this could be the beginning of it. I don't think it's necessarily over. We have a couple of different factors at work here. For one, the short position in the U.S. dollar, the net short position right now, is actually the largest it's been since March of 2008, according to the recent CFTC figures from last week. So the market is pretty much massively short the dollar already. And so I think it's natural to see a little bit of a short covering for the dollar, short covering rally ahead of the G20 meeting, trying to work out the risk aversion.
Yeah, just wondering, with your medium-term negative view on the US dollar, what you're thinking for the commodity currencies like Aussie and Kiwi.
Well, absolutely love it. I mean, first of all, when Aussie was at 97 cents, last year, prior to the big drop, that was not an anomaly. To me, the drop down to 60 cents was the anomaly. And I think we're just getting right back on track. Will we get to parity? Maybe not so quickly, but I think it will happen. I think a lot of the good news is already priced into Aussie, but at the same time, it's a two-sided coin, and the U.S. dollar weakness might not be completely priced in. So I do think you're going to. I'm very bullish on the commodity currencies. I think if you're long Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Brazil, do it as a basket, and I think it's probably you're a little more diversified, and I think it's a great way to trade.
Ed, how soon could we see euro dollar testing 150 again if you do believe that the trend is for continued dollar weakness?
I don't know. What time is it over there? Just kidding. I think it could happen rather quickly. I mean, we were above 148 today. So 150 will not happen this week, in my opinion. I think we're going to pull in the horns a little bit. The bulls are going to pull in their horns just a little bit ahead of this G20 meeting. Then when the meeting passes, and there are all these rumors that maybe they're going to discuss currencies, and there's a lot of concern about banking regulations, perhaps creating some risk aversion. But I think come next week, this is going to pass, and you're going to see the slide in the dollar resume. So I would be willing to tell you it could hit 150 within a week.
Let's dive further into this lack of confidence in the US dollar. You're saying some of it really has to do with a lack of clarity around exit strategies. Do you think we heard more in the way of that from the Fed in the overnight session?
That's a great point. I think we heard a little bit today from the FOMC meeting, but frankly, I don't think it's enough, and I realize that's not the popular view right now. Most people think that the fact that they mentioned withdrawing stimulus was a negative for the equity market today. But the truth is, they haven't addressed at all not just withdrawing stimulus, but how about mopping up all the liquidity that we've already priced in? The way I see it, if you're sinking in quicksand and you're knee-deep, it's not too early for an exit strategy. And you can articulate that strategy without implementing it.
Ed, just briefly, because we're almost out of time, tell us your best trades out there before we let you go.
I love the euro against the Swiss franc. I think that's the way to go right now. Of course, you know that Switzerland will not tolerate a strong Swiss franc, so we know exactly which way they're pushing this currency pair. Underneath 15150, I leg in, and above that number, I leg out. And that's been the trade for the last 2 months, and I think it'll continue to be the trade.
Great. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. Ed Ponsi from FXeducator.com.